I'm Lelia. I am the book buyer here at One More Page, and I have been here since we opened in January 2011. Eileen gave me a job right out of college. So yeah, I've seen a lot of changes here, and it's been a really fun adventure.
So how did you get into book selling?
I worked at a children's bookstore in Arlington during summers when I was in college, Aladdin's Lamp down the road, and that's how I met Eileen, and she bought some of the furnishings from that store as it was closing. The owner was retiring, and so some of these shelves are actually from that store. And I was like, hey, Eileen, do you need someone to work there also?
Do you need things besides furnishings?
Could I
offer you
me? And she was like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, joke's on her. It was the best decision she ever made.
She was like, I mean, cool, if that's what you want to do.
You've been here ever since. What is your favorite part of the job?
For me, I think it's probably hearing people say, oh, I love that book that you recommended for me, or if it was a gift that they gave, especially for younger readers, like, oh, you recommended this book, and it was so good, thank you so much, or if it was just what I needed, or my niece or nephew or whoever needed. I always think that's really special when it's a book they wouldn't have necessarily picked up otherwise, that we had a part in.
Do you have any memorable moments from your time here at One More Page?
I mean,
one or two maybe.
I don't have a memory of when Obama was here because I worked the late shift that day, so I did not meet President Obama, so not that one.
What a shame.
Going along with that, I think one of the biggest things we do is the Novatine Book Festival, and I think it was last year's when a father of one of the teens who was there came up and just told us how special of a day he had with his daughter, who was, I think, a junior or senior. I think she must have been she had just gotten, I think, rejected from her top choice college, and she'd seen an author speak, Ariel Kaplan, about her book, which talks about not getting into top choice colleges, and just said how much it meant to her to meet the author and how much it meant to him to have that day with her together at the book festival. So moments like that, I think that was a really special thing that was like, oh yeah, this is why we do this, why we put all the work into this. So that was really cool.
Aww. What are your favorite genres to read?
I read a lot of romance.
Yes.
Especially the last few years. I love me some happy endings. I've been reading more sort of like fiction, I guess, in the last few years too. And I really like sci-fi and fantasy, but I find that if you look at what I've read the last year or two, it's been very little sci-fi and fantasy. So I'm like, oh no, what happened there? And then once in a while, I've been getting into some essays. Whoa, crazy.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Well, if you had to recommend one book right now to our millions upon billions of fans watching these videos, what would it be?
That's so easy. I love when people just like, one book, let's go. What could go wrong? I have mentioned this book before, and I think right now it's really important too, is W. Kamau Bell's book of essays and sort of memoir, Awkward Thoughts of a Black Man, but W. Kamau Bell. Isn't that great? I know the full title so well.
I'll put a link below the video.
Yeah, we'll put a link in here. It's so funny. He's a comedian, but he's also done a lot of things that sort of, he had a TV show that talked about race, and it's, I don't want to say any of the obvious ones because I think you all probably know about How to Be an Anti-Racist and Stand from the Beginning and Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between the World and Me. But if you're looking for something that will also make you laugh, but will sort of share a glimpse into the experience of being a black man in America, I think that his book does a great job of that. And he also talks about gender and his own sort of like being in a world, of comedians where it is a primarily male, cisgendered male world. So he really touches on a lot of things, but does it all with humor and sort of talks about his life and experiences and just does it in a really great way. So I recommend that one for people who do want to sort of, especially if you haven't read a lot of books by black authors necessarily, that's a good way to start because it's funny and it's still just going to be, a memoir about a funny person and his experiences. I've said experiences so many times now.
You did great.
Sorry.
This is perfect. We're all really tired, but we all also really want you to read books. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lelia, and thank you to all of you watching for tuning in to our Bookseller bios, and have a good one. Bye from One More Page. Then we wave. There it is.
Then we wave. Is this it?
That's it.